Well, hey everybody, it's Chuck. Welcome back. I tried to get up a little bit earlier for you guys this morning. Try to get some rush hour traffic here. It's about 7:19. A new version, FSD 14.1.2. And the only new difference that I've really noticed, the release notes came out last night, and Ashok kind of teased it, and I went way off thinking it was banished because he said a much anticipated feature was here, and we now have a Mad Max mode for the speed profiles. So we're going to play with that today, and as a matter of fact, we're going to drive this whole drive in Mad Max, which is very out of character for me, but since that's really the only thing that changed as far as the release notes go, that's where we're going to leave it. So we're just going to get going here. I'm starting from the curb, and we're going to Mad Max. We're going to leave it there, and we're going to see what it does, see if there's any differences. Reading the post from the folks out in California and other places that did their drives last night as soon as this came in, apparently the lane change assertiveness and confidence is back to match 13. We'll see if we get any examples of that today, just to kind of show it. That was one of the biggest issues in 14, was just the assertiveness and confidence to make the lane changes. And then, of course, the brake stabbing. Hopefully, I've got my CAN bus data up. So here we are, unprotected left turn. There's our full NHTSA stop with a little bit of a creep here. We definitely got a little bit of traffic here. It needs to wait for, okay, I'm really glad it didn't go for that tiny gap. Lots of traffic here from the left. Now, one of the things that people are starting to wonder, and I shouldn't say people, we talk about is, do the speed profiles affect the behavior and the assertiveness or aggressiveness of some other maneuvers like the unprotected left turn? Does Mad Max go for gaps in this unprotected left that perhaps Chill or Sloth would not? My understanding is that the profiles do not affect the driving aggressiveness or decision making. It's only about speed and lane changes to manage speed through traffic. That's my understanding. And if anybody from Tesla can correct me if I'm wrong, or DM me in private so I can have the story right. I've asked at We Robot, I did ask Phil Dewan and others what the profiles did at the time. And of course it was, no, it doesn't change the behavior. And I'm already getting a little bit of a wipe there. Okay, nice gap there, a little bit of a question mark. Turn on my cameras for you. We need to wait in the median. Nice job, nice job. It needs to stay there. I got my cameras up. Hopefully you can see that. This is good. Wow, this is more traffic from the right, I think. Now we got a left lane open. Is it going to take that gap? Wow, it's going to go for it. Okay, let's see. I'm looking in the rearview mirror. That was a fine decision. That was a fine decision. Boy, that windshield looks really bad. Maybe that's why the wipers are going. I'm going to give it a little bit of a wipe there. And I'm going to drop these cameras off. I'm going to edit the trip. See if I can get our U-turn in here in time. Hopefully it will. See if it does it. Yep, got our U-turn in time. Okay, so now, I can feel the Mad Max there a little bit. But we were going with the flow of traffic. I didn't even get, okay, we got a nice gap here. Is it going to go for it? Nice pre-roll, U-turn. Nice, very good. I'm happy with that. We did get our camera visibility limit, clean dirt and debris from the camera, and that, I'm not sure if that was the front or the side camera. It looks like it's the front camera. I think I've cleaned it fine. It was, I don't know what that was. It was definitely on the outside. Maybe either way, the camera's cleaned. Okay, we're on our way. Really good unprotected left turn in what I would call rush hour traffic. And that's why I got up a little bit earlier. I wanted to see the decision making, and how it's handling aggressive traffic. If I had every single one of my unprotected left-hand turns, if they were that kind of traffic, it would have presented much more of an opportunity. And perhaps I need to get the drone out here just a little bit earlier. I know as we get later in the year, the sun comes up later and later and it gets darker and darker, but people still go to work at the same time. So it's a little more difficult. All right, I'm going to leave it Mad Max, and we're going to a Charger. So that's exactly what I wanted there. Can I get rid of this camera? Yeah, the camera warning's gone. So other things we need to think about on this drive. Why hasn't it gone wide? I can't understand it, honestly, at least for the early access and those of you that have the advanced selected. Good lane change there. Really good. Blinker, go. Didn't have any false blinkers. That was an aggressive, good lane change in traffic. Yeah, I'm liking that. I mean, we're doing the flow of traffic here. It is going 56, but by no means is it, passing everybody here or anything like that. Gosh, if the lane changes are fixed, that's going to be great. That was almost confusing to me how it was losing its assertiveness, because assertiveness is definitely part of execution. But, if the safety dial was cranked up, maybe that was why. Okay, coming up on our first intersection with railroad tracks, and this is where we were getting the increased attention required notice before. Here's a nice roller on a flashing yellow. I'm looking at the screen to see if we get it. Not getting it over the railroad tracks. We didn't get it that time. No increased attention required that I saw on that intersection of the railroad tracks. Interesting. I wonder if we're going to get those at a different time or a different frequency today. All right, we're going to have some NHTSA stops here, some speed bumps. This is Birkenhead, our narrow roads example. I'm going to kind of pull the cameras up. All right, nice creep there. Oh, wow. There was no brake stabbing on that. That was one of the brake stabbing situations we had last time. That was really kind of bad. Speed bump speed was fine. Traffic coming. How much of the right hand? I got my cameras up so you can see the right-hand lanes. No issues. Did not pause it. God, do you guys remember the day where we would have this steering wheel confusion and the snake weight going through here? That was pre-end-to-end, but boy, was it a hard time. And it just kind of showed how neural networks have solved some of the problems. Got some trucks here. It's doing really good here. Now, granted, the Cybertruck is a little bit bigger, and that's going to be really the one I love to test on this road just because of its size and its ability, to use that. When I say the edge of the road, it's this repeater cam view. If you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the display right now, that repeater cam is kind of showing how much of the drivable surface the car is comfortable using, which is kind of why I bring up this camera on here, because it has this narrow road with no shoulder or anything. It's got to go all the way over unless you're going to stop and allow traffic to pass, which is not what's going on there. Okay. Now, this early morning traffic looks like it may have given us a good scenario here on this unprotected left-hand turn with a center turn lane. The traffic here looks pretty aggressive this morning. There is a light to the left that can create a gap. We've got two cars in front of us. But it'll be interesting to see if it's as aggressive on this one as it needs to be. He went right. I don't have a blinker on this car. He may be going off. Going left here may not be very polite, but we're going to do it anyway. Let's see what happens here. He doesn't have his blinker on, but he sure is acting like he's going left. Human drivers. That's another thing we need to keep an eye out, talking about blinkers. Blinkers on version 13.1 were very erratic. It could have been part of the uncertainty on the lane changes. They would come on, they would go off, they'd come on, they'd go off. Yeah, he's definitely doing the exact same thing we're trying to do here. So I've got to stop. Oh, wow, this is great. Okay, he left a gap. We didn't take it. He proceeded. There was a window there for us to go. That might be a good example that Mad Max does not have super aggressiveness on unprotected left turns, because that would have been an aggressive maneuver to ooch out and to take that. We're not showing intent yet, in my opinion. We're still at the NHTSA stop. We're probably going to get there's stop traffic to the right and to the left. It's kind of stacked up. This is a scenario where, okay, they're moving back to the right, so I don't think it's going to be like these cars giving us a gap to go. I think they're going to be trying to make their own commutes. We'll see what it does. In my opinion, we need to ooch up a little bit to kind of show intent. We do have two cars to the left. They're on the display screen. They're doing center turn lane turns, which would be traffic we would have to deal with if we proceeded. Oh, okay, so now we're showing some intent. I don't know why it waited so long to do that. We're definitely kind of blocking the cross lane, but it's clear to the right, so it's little gaps from the left we'll have to look for. Man, this is definitely probably the most busiest turn we've had so far. Oh, is it? Nope. There's a tiny gap coming up. The traffic's starting to stack up to the right, so we may get like a gap created by people letting us go here in a few minutes if we don't get our own. This is a scenario that if this was my daily commute, I probably wouldn't come here. Not that an unprotected left turn is unsafe. It's just like, how long do you want to wait in traffic before you get your opportunity? Because it's 7:30 a.m. I need to kind of keep this in mind. Okay, the traffic is stacking up to the left. Wow, it's just continuous. It's like the light needs to turn red to give us a gap. Let's see if one of these cars stops to give us an opportunity to go, and if we just kind of take it aggressively. I really don't want to press the accelerator here, but somebody's going to have to give us an option to go. Who is it going to be? Okay, this car is kind of showing. Is the car behind it going to go? The car's behind. Okay, he's going to say, he gave us a window, but the cars on the other side did not. All right, they're still stacking up to the right, so somebody's going to give us a chance here. Oh, now we got a car right in front of us to deal with. Wow. I don't know what to say here. That car should go. There's our chance. We need to go. But now we're waiting on him. He's peeking. Oh, and it didn't take it. It didn't show any intent. There's a bigger gap coming that naturally was created, but now we got more center turn lane traffic. I might get a honk here from the guy behind me. Oh, we're going to lose our chance. We've got to go. Oh, we're not going to get our chance. These center turn lane cars have affected our ability of going each time. They have the right of way. That's the way it works. But we're in Mad Max mode. Not that it's changing the behavior on this. Oh, wow. We missed that whole cycle. I might get a honk here. Because I'm definitely being less cautious, more cautious than a human driver. Okay, here's a chance. Is it going to go? It didn't go. Oh, he's got a blinker on. If I get a honk, I'm probably going to have to intervene here, give it a little tap of encouragement here. Gosh, I don't know. I would have probably stuck my nose out a little bit with those cars earlier. I don't know about you guys, but this is one of those situations you just got to make happen. Oh, the blinker went off. The blinker went off. You giving up? What are you going to do? All right, we've been here long enough. Now that the blinker went off, I'm afraid I'm going to have to intervene if it doesn't take an opportunity here. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I really don't want to press it. There's another gap. Here's our gap. You got to go. You got to go. 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 You did it. Holy smokes, it did it. He took his blinker off. And now you're going to be, there's your chance. Okay, you got a car coming from behind. You're in the center turn lane. Go for it. Oh my gosh, Possum, you did it. Holy smokes. I thought you gave up. When you turned the blinker off, I thought you gave up. Hey, Tesla AI, you could have been a little bit more aggressive on nosing yourself through traffic. I'm not saying that it was wrong, but I almost gave up there. I'm still giving you an A+ on that. And the reason is because you did it perfectly safe. If I was in the back seat, I'd have said, I don't care. Just make sure you make the right choice. There was a car behind me as a driver. I was kind of like in that gray area of how long am I going to sit here if it's never going to go? But you eventually went. You could have created your own opportunity by nudging out there and showing some intent with a little bit more aggressive behavior. But that might have been a little bit too early in your cycle to do that, meaning like you might have been waiting on an opportunity. Very good. All right, changing that. Wow. That might have been one of the most difficult unprotected left turns I've got on film yet, that it flawlessly executed, meaning I didn't have to intervene. I didn't have to do anything. And the traffic just kept on creating different problems. And you did not, the steering wheel didn't freak out. the oncoming traffic that took away your opportunities. You didn't handle anything wrong. You did a great job. Okay, I'm in Mad Max mode. I'm going 49 in a 40. That's speeding, but it's okay. I'm going with flow of traffic. But what I want to show you up here, and here's a lane change, very smooth. We got a flashing yellow school zone. 15 miles an hour when flashing. I do believe it's going to slow down, but it's being constrained by cars also slowing down. So, but remember, we're in Mad Max mode. So if it thought it was annoyed, it would go around. It's definitely doing school zone behavior here. We're going 15, and we have a speed limit of 15. So it actually did it. End school zone sign is right there. We just passed it. So now you're actually incorrect. So you didn't read the end of school zone sign. How long are you going to stay 15? Because now you're wrong. Oh, there you go to 40. Okay. I don't know how you chose that because you didn't use the sign. So maybe you have a map data layer that you're looking at there. I'm not sure. But either way, that was actually okay. However you chose to accelerate there, I'm okay with it based on when you went to 40. It wasn't when the end school zone sign we passed, so it must have been another input. I don't think it was the truck in front of us because he wasn't accelerating to 40. What do you guys think? How did it know the end of the school zone? That's got to be a map data layer, right? Otherwise, it would have changed to 40 right at the end school zone sign if it was doing sign recognition. Okay, the next part of our drive, just like last time, is we're doing Supercharger parking. I'm in Mad Max. I do see Charger set up there next to my profile. Let's see what we see. Lane change. Oh, we got a truck coming up here. See this truck? We're going to have a little bit of who has the right of way. Is he parking? Yeah, he's parking. Okay. School bus here, parked. We got a box truck for delivery, parked. Got a emergency vehicle on the left, parked. Supercharger's wide open, so there's no constraints. Which one do you think it's going to pick? How does it know which one it wants? Is it going to just go to the middle? Is it going to go to the end? I mean, those of you that know the protocol on choosing, superchargers, it's just like male urinal protocol. You guys know what male urinal protocol is? Maybe the ladies don't, but you never go next to somebody if there's a spot open to prevent you from sitting next to them. But that's kind of the protocol. All right, we're parked. I'm going to go ahead and hit self-driving, and we're going. Nice job. Interacting with a car here to coming into the parking lot. Guys, that was our first leg. I'll call that the first leg. And that was jam-packed full of, oh my God, driving. I mean, it nailed everything so far. My unprotected left, it nailed. That unbelievable center turn lane unprotected left, it nailed it. It took a long time, but it did it right. Wow. Supercharger parking, you got that nailed. I know I got a little excited last night thinking that Ashok was teasing Banish. Probably the best clue we weren't getting Banish was because we haven't gotten any Tesla app decompiles that showed any features about Banish being turned on. If I had realized that, I probably wouldn't have gone down that rabbit hole. But Ashok, man, if you're listening to this, you said a much anticipated feature. I don't think Mad Max was much anticipated to debut. We've already kind of been complaining about going too fast. Now, granted, I don't live in LA, and those that do live in LA, they have to have a profile to drive in LA. And many of the developers, are up in Palo Alto and San Francisco area. And that may have been a much anticipated feature for the engineering world or those that live out in California. And there's a lot more of you than me, so I get that. So that's probably where that much anticipated came from. It was a little bit more of an internal, we got to fix this feature. But hey, we're doing this whole drive in Mad Max, and guess what's next? Highway. What do you think it's going to be like on the highway in traffic? Think it's going to be like zipping through there like in the movie? Mad Max. Mad Max and an AI4 Model Y. Oh, guess what? I got a delivery day on my Juniper. I know a lot of you think I'm crazy for turning in this Model Y. Very low mileage, but listen, there were some personal reasons I wanted to upgrade timing-wise. My car payment on this car is very high. I'm kind of getting into the leasing thing. AI5 is not coming out to the public in 2026. I don't care what any of you think. That's my opinion. And I wanted to get on the leasing structure because the depreciation of these cars as each of these new hardware, comes out, it's too much to eat up for me. So I'm going to try the leasing model, and that's why I jumped over to the Juniper. Anyway, in a very rapid turnaround, we got our delivery date. I'm picking it up on November 4th, I believe. I'm kind of hoping for an earlier delivery. I'm out of town that weekend of Halloween, so I couldn't really get it in there. But either way, November 4th at a minimum. So you guys will see me with a AI4 with a bumper camera going forward. I did do a trade-in of this one to keep FSD because I did pay for FSD on this one. So this lease will have FSD, and then of course I'll lose it beyond the term of this. Oh, very, very aggressive, smooth, confident lane change there. I'm calling it now. They fixed lane changes. The smoothness, the commit, on the previous two versions, the blinker would go on. It would look for that was impressive. So I don't know if it took Mad Max to fix this. I just think it was just part of the smoothness on this version. I'm not going to take it out of Mad Max for this whole drive. I just kind of made that decision to give some consistency. But there is a chance that the rest of the profiles did possibly change. Sloth did not go away. So now we have kind of 4 modes. More than likely, after today's drive, you're going to see me in standard like I have been. And maybe we can play with Sloth a little bit. Another lane change. Smooth, aggressive. We do have some traffic here, so I think this is going to be good for testing Mad Max. I'm glad I looked at that. It's time to edit the trip. Yeah, we got a lot of traffic here on I-10 coming up. So it'll be interesting to see. Wow, another lane change going around these trucks. This is great. Smooth lane changes. You know, here we are half a mile from our exit, and it's in the left lane, kind of weaving its way through. Good acceleration into that lane change. I felt it accelerating into it, continuing all the way over. I don't know if Mad Max is required to do these, smooth accelerations above the speed limit. Like, how fast are you willing to go is definitely part of these profiles. Sometimes when you're in highway, you get somebody that's just going a few miles an hour slower than you, and the takeover relative motion is just not quite good enough to kind of get past them without that uncomfortable blind spot kind of lingering. So, I don't know. Is Mad Max required for that? Not sure. Now, as I'm coming around, I can see the low-angle sun coming, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my visor down, but we might get some good examples of low-angle sun, increased attention required. Oh, man, lane changes are fixed. Fixed. Smooth. It's committing. And it wants to get over more. You got your blinker on. Now, that was one I thought you would have committed to. You just kind of eased over into that one. I didn't see any increased attention required there. I don't know if you guys saw one. There's one. You going to go into that one? Oh, there. Okay, you hesitated on that. That was the first hesitation. And now you're going. You shouldn't have done that, should you? Because that lane kept on moving. All right, so now we're in dense traffic. People are doing their own little Mad Max version. These guys in front of me are getting out from behind this truck. What do you think? Is it going to jump into the right with its right blinker? Passing in the right lane, or is it all tending to pass to the left? Oh, there it is. It's passing to the right. Are you going to go? You sure are, aren't you? Nice. That's what the cars ahead of you were doing. This lane was moving. Good job. Hey, listen, I'm liking Mad Max mode today. I mean, I know, listen, we're going 24 and a 55, but it's being smooth. It's choosing good lanes. I haven't felt that accelerate into a tight gap opportunity yet. I don't know if we're going to get that or not. You guys, am I describing it well? A gap is there, but to get into it, you got to do it with the flow of traffic and push yourself into it. We'll see if it has that kind of aggressiveness or not. We might get that opportunity in this traffic. I haven't seen any issues with the sun angle other than my own eyes. It's so low, the visor doesn't even work for me. There's another blinker. Okay, you're jumping in front of a semi, so that's easy. I don't know why you thought this was a better lane particularly. I mean, that dump truck was coming over. Now, if he had his blinker on, that would have been a good decision. I didn't see if he had his blinker on or not. Oh, so now you went over in that lane. Why you changed your mind? Look at you changing your mind with your little neural network brain. Ha! Those of you that do commutes, if you live in LA, if you ever have this type of traffic and you need to kind of get through it, Mad Max might be for you. If you're the type of driver that just wants to sit still and get to work when you get to work, maybe standard or chill. I'm not real sure how those have changed in this profile yet, so I'm not ready to say, but it's doing good. I haven't seen any steering wheel jitter yet. Isn't it funny how they can polish out these versions in just a few days? Oh, I forgot to tell you guys about my camera. I did post it on X. There's another good one. My outdoor zoom camera that I use to look for the Tesla ADAS operators driving my unprotected left turn, it just stopped working. The video feed died, and I went out to check it out, and I just couldn't get any power to the camera. You know, the power supply was working, so there must have been some sort of water intrusion or something that just killed the camera. So I had to get another one. I use a FosCam 18 zoom and a couple extension cords to kind of get it down. You know, I know FosCam is kind of a chintzy brand, but it had a real-time RTSP stream for me to use. And the biggest thing is it had a pan tilt with an 18x zoom lens. And I needed that 18x zoom to kind of zoom in on the street to not have the broader angle. And it was the price point. I know a lot of people kind of gave me some grief about using FosCam cameras, but I didn't have anything else with that kind of zoom that I found that was kind of easily available without going specialty order. If you guys got some ideas, you want to change my mind on cameras, let me know. Be glad to look at them for next time if I continue to have problems. But that camera's back up and running. For those of you that hadn't heard how that system works, I have a real-time video feed that watches the street. And I capture that video feed in a Python script I wrote using OpenCV. OpenCV is just a video feed. And I use a inference model, a lightweight inference model called YOLO. You know, I'm still on YOLO V8. There are newer YOLO versions, but I haven't upgraded to those because this has been working fine. It's a little bit lighter. I probably do need to upgrade that version now that I think there's up to 10, 11, and 12 even. But either way, all I'm using that YOLO for is very light inference to identify cars or trucks. That YOLO will, you know, recognize dogs and people and pedestrians and stop signs and fire hydrants. It'll identify all of that, but I filter everything out but cars and trucks. If it sees cars and trucks, it takes a JPEG image and saves it. And all I know is it's a car or truck. And then I've got my script fills up this queue. And every 30 seconds, I say, hey, do I have any images in the queue? And if so, I batch them up. I encode them so I can upload them to our large language model API. I'm using Google Gemini Flash and Pro. And I'm using Gemini over X only because they have a cheaper model that really doesn't cost me anything because of the low volume. XAPI is good. And oh, by the way, it's probably cheap enough. I could do it, but Google has a bigger free tier, which is why I'm using Google's, and it does a decent job. So my first run at uploading these images in the first 30 seconds is to the Google Flash, the lightweight model. And all I do is I ask it with a prompt, is this a Tesla? Answer with yes or no. I don't want any other response. It's just, is it a Tesla? So I'm not asking models or anything. So that weeds out all of the Ford pickup trucks and the SUVs and the minivans that get captured. It's just not a Tesla. And I get about 80, 90% reliability on that, maybe even 95% reliability on the is it a Tesla. And then if it comes back with a yes, as a Tesla. So now say I batched up 6 images and I went up and said, is it a Tesla? And now I come back and let's just say one of them gets a yes. That image gets batched up and I send it to the Pro model. So I'm only hitting the Pro model with the harder problems and not with every problem. And then the Pro model, I say, what model Tesla is this? Model 3, Model Y, Model S, Model X, Cybertruck, and I even have Cybercab in there. And then I also say, or is it not a Tesla? So I let the Pro model determine what model Tesla it is. And I also allow it to say, never mind, it's not a Tesla. And then that comes back. And then I save that into a folder. I have a Model 3 folder, a Model Y folder, a Model X folder, a Cybertruck folder. I've never captured a Cybercab. And that's how that works. So I capture and identify these images. And then daily, I go through and look at the images that it filters for me. And I recognize the 8S operators from vehicles I recognize, and or if they were to drive a new vehicle, by pattern recognition of how frequently they come by. If the exact same car comes by every 9 minutes, I know they're testing something. Now, granted, that could be a neighbor or another Tesla enthusiast doing my turn, but I also recognize some of the cars that they've been using consistently over the last 3 or 4 years. And I know, like that blue one with the white hubcaps is pretty easy to spot. They've got a Model 3 and a Model X Model X was white. They've used it in the past. Yeah. And then if I see them, then I post those images to you guys so you know that the Tesla guys are out there validating my turn with some sort of new piece of software. Anyway, now you know how my camera works and how I wrote it, and it works pretty good. You know, I have to kind of update, you know, every time a flash model updates, and I do use the standardized name, so it should auto-update, but I don't know, every once in a while a library dies, and I got to kind of go rebuild my Docker container so everything's current. All right, so he wanted a lane change again. I don't know why it lane changed into this lane when that lane was moving faster. It'll be interesting to see if it gets impatient over here. Oh, no, you want to go to the far left lane now. Changed your mind. You had the blinker on. You're Mad Maxing it again. So this drive may be a little bit longer than usual because this traffic is thicker than usual. But I don't know. Maybe I'll shut up for a minute and fast forward unless something else happens. All right, guys, I'm back. Hopefully that went by pretty quick for you. The traffic is starting to move up here as we get ready to exit. Coming up on this very large interchange, it really did not do a whole lot of lane changes during that slug of traffic back there. As a matter of fact, I don't think it did any while I was fast forwarding. But as we come back up, we're on the hills. We get ready to do our exit here. I wanted to do our phone test again. just so we can kind of see if the nag has changed any, if I'm looking at my phone. So I've got my phone out. It's changing lanes again to get over in this right lane. But I'm going to look down 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4 potato, 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato, 8 potato. All right, so it's basically the same. And that was by the hat. So but right at 6 seconds, it said, and now it wants me to touch the steering wheel. If I look at it, okay, I'll give it a little tug. It's back. So no change there. About 6 seconds, it gives you the warning. It starts flashing, and then you've got to react to it. That time, because I'm wearing a hat, it said obscured by hat, but I think it would be the same. And now hands-free mode is back on just for it being recaged. So no change on the nag. But I have to say, I was kind of looking around in traffic. I wasn't using my phone at all, but it didn't really nag me at all. So it was good. It felt loose enough for normal usage. All right, we're taking our exit here down towards Riverside, and we'll work our way to Memorial Park, and we'll see if we get any parking differences. I did move my point of interest, or my favorite, in Memorial Park to hopefully create the scenario with the thin chain test. Not sure how that'll play out, but we'll see here as we jump into Riverside and see if we have any other differences. This right on red, if you remember last time, had a lot of indecisive jerkiness. Let's see if we get our full NHTSA stop. There we go. Is it going to creep and be okay? That car the Bronco kind of jumped in our way. Very smooth. So jerkiness really kind of went away. That indecisive wheel shaking. I believe Zach out in LA did say he saw some wheel shaking. I haven't seen it yet, but in any case, the indecisiveness is gone. All right, it Mad Maxed around that traffic there, and let's see if it gets back over in the right lane. And it did. Yeah, so that was good. We also had some pedestrians at this intersection on point 1 that was very uncomfortable, and it was kind of a long, indecisive behavior. We definitely got some lead cars here, so it might just be a little bit different than last time, but just highlighting things that I've seen on each drive for differences in comparison. Yield sign, so it doesn't need to stop. Is it going to stop? Okay, it had to stop for that car, but now it should go. Very good. Wow. Huge improvement on those regressions we saw on version 14 of the early releases. I don't know what you did, Tesla AI, I really wish I understood how the post-training works. I know you didn't rebuild all of V14, but however you tweak that lane decision making and changing, good job. It works. No problems there. I would even dare say the lane changing is as good as V13 feels. So I know there were some folks saying stay on V13 because it's smoother. This build may have solved that, and we're still on 14.1. So we're not on 14.2. So I don't know if we're going to go wide or not, but I definitely think it could go to more early access folks for sure. Feels good. All right, he's got interesting, wow, really, really good behavior around that dynamic traffic situation. He was turning left, but blocking the lane. We encroached into another lane to go around it because there was room. Really good behavior there. That was one of those scenarios where a robot car is better than a human on determining whether or not you can go into that lane. That's one of those scenarios where seeing 360 degrees all at once is totally to your benefit. The dynamic nature of a going around traffic and going in another lane without me having to look at my rear view, look at my side view. Now see, here it's doing it again. Doing a great traffic maneuver into a parking lane to go around him. Very good. That even gets a clap. That's 2 in a row. All right, center turn lane to go down here Memorial Park. We do have a pedestrian with a dog that could create a vector that might be interesting. Okay, there. Look at that. Look, okay, she waved us through. Well, I don't know if the wave did it or not, but she waved us through. So stop to yield with a pedestrian with a trajectory to cross. She waved us through and it went through. I don't know if it was the wave, but gosh, if it was the wave that fixed it, that's awesome. All right, let's see if this POI lets us park. We got a thin chain test here. Parking spots are available. I've got the POI in the right spot. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh, you're not going to do it, are you? Oh, no. Okay. All right. We have determined that the thin chain test is a problem still. This is the new parking stack. This is the first time I've ever done this one. And the new parking stack still can't see thin chains. That was not the old parking stack, guys. That was the new one. So I'm going to go ahead and edit the trip here and get rid of Memorial Park and go to the cul-de-sac. Oh, that's disappointing. I was really hopeful that the new parking stack would give us more fidelity, more resolution, more decision making on that thin chain test, but it definitely does not see thin chains. I know the release notes talk about crossbars and gates and things. That thin chain is not a gate. I could see it in the camera. It's small and thin, but it's there. So I don't know, Tesla. That you guys got to figure that out. Curbside, park, whatever. I'm going to do parking lot, parking garage. I'm going to do parking lot at the cul-de-sac. I changed the cul-de-sac just a little bit. All right, we got a creep here. It's wide open, no issues here. Shucks. I really was hoping that the new parking stack could see that chain. And before it was a definitive, I really hadn't tested. It was all on the old stack, but that time it was for sure definitive. All right, I did also move my POI on this, my favorite, on this intersection to try to create a better parking scenario. I'm not sure what it's going to do. You know, I got parking lot. I'm going to change it to curbside. You know, did you see what it did there? So when I changed it to curbside, it went down to the end. While I'm at this light, if I go to parking lot, do you see what it did? It changed it. It like it knows there's a parking lot over there. So the route is changing based off of what I've got in here. So that is interesting. There is a little parking lot where it went, and we're going to drive by it and you're going to get to see it. But that parking lot is private. I don't think it's legal for me to park there. I may be wrong, but if you go down that little blue road to the right that I showed you, we'll see it here in a second. I don't know why we didn't get a green arrow, but that's okay. We got a gap here. We're getting our little pre-roll going here. There we go. All right. All right, so let's see what curbside gets. Yeah, see the little road here to the right. It's resident parking, so I'm not allowed to park in there, but that's where it wanted to go. POI is right here on the right. I've got curbside selected, pedestrian right behind us. I've got no standing parking. It's just going to do the Uber thing, isn't it? That's what curb... Yeah, I kind of did the Uber thing. Okay, I'm going to edit the trip a little bit. We're going to add 5 points, and then we're going to go to Biscotti's. Biscotti's. And then after Biscotti's, I think we're at FSD return there. I did change my FSD return to be a driveway also in my neighborhood. I need to go to favorites. All right, and then we're done there, and then we're driving. How are you going to get out of here? You going straight? You got a pedestrian I created a scenario with. She's on the sidewalk. So it didn't need to do a 3-point turn, but we all know it can do that now. I also moved the 5 points POI to create a different parking scenario. Pedestrian there, very cautious, but no jerkiness. Smooth. It is not overreacting to these pedestrians. Now I've got a green light ahead. This is where a human accelerates. This is what it's going to make it, I think. But you know what I mean? When you see a green light in the distance, you're like, oh, let's make the light. I've never seen a robot car do that yet. Backup light's there, but he's not backing up. Okay, so this car is going a little slow, like they're indecisive about where they're going. So we have another lead car scenario, I think, at 5 points. Okay, at 5 points, we have the flashing yellow or flashing red light. It's a 5-way stop, but there's a little island in the middle that we have to go around. I've got parking lot selected, right? That's what it's going to park on the street. It's what I want. You know, somebody said street parking is an option. I've never seen it. In curbside, I don't have street. I think this is a bug. Has anyone ever, how do I create a street parking scenario, like parallel? I don't know. Actually, they have the right of way. They don't have a stop sign. I've got to yield to them. So now we're coming up and to the right. This car's got his reverse lights on. The POI's up to the right. I have a blinker on. Is it going to take one of these spots? I think it should. Yeah. Good. Perfect. Is it getting in between the lines just right? On my new Juniper, I'll be able to show you my bumper camera. All right. I like it. Let's go. Now you got to back up into traffic. See the red? Woo. Man, it was backing up. It's got red. Those cars are moving. Wow. Aggressive. Very good. Nice job. Wow. It's like a cab. Got a pedestrian here. Need to yield to him. He's showing vector. There we go. When I say showing vector, showing intent, showing the intent to cross the path, that's what I mean when I say showing a vector. Okay, we're taking a right here. We're coming back around. Whoa, sun in my eyes. I felt a couple brake taps there, but I couldn't see anything because the sun was in my eyes. And we're taking the right at the light. I've got a red light. Those pedestrians are not crossing. I've got a green light. Oh, see them showing vector? They showed a vector with my green light and the car hesitated. That was good. If they were going to jaywalk, the car saw it. As soon as I started rolling forward, they showed intent because they realized they missed their crossing opportunity, but the car very quickly reacted to them. Very, very good. All right, so this is a right on red that's legal into the sun. So there's your NHTSA stop. Are you going to give me a right turn on red? It doesn't say no right on red. It's just kind of waiting there. That sun is in its eyes. Listen to me anthropomorphizing it. You don't have eyes. All right, we're kind of around the block. That 5-point scenario kind of puts us back on this loop at where I put that POI, which is fine. Mad Maxing it at 36 and a 30. Woo! Taking the curve. Okay, so let's talk about that parking a little bit. Maybe I'm missing something because I don't street park a lot. But I don't see a scenario for street parking. I only see a scenario for like parking lot. Now, maybe my POIs and my favorites are creating that. Like, see how there's street parking here? If I just click curbside, is it going to do the Uber thing and not go into a spot? Or is it going to parallel park? And maybe I need to create that in my scenario somehow. Maybe I need to, on this street here, have it park. Can I do that dynamically while we're talking? What if I don't think I can. I need to think through how I want to do that. I need to create a parallel parking scenario for this drive. Look at it going around that puddle. These little puddles, it's just kind of reacting to it a little bit. While I'm at this red light, I think along this street, there's street parking. So maybe that's where I need to add it. Has anybody seen street on their parking scenarios? All I see is curbside, and under curbside, there's not an option for street. It just, and maybe curbside means street. You guys still with me? Who's still here? This drive is getting long. Now, granted, I know it feels longer to me than you because I've been driving an hour and that traffic was pretty serious. I normally don't drive in traffic around here that time of day, but I joined our local commuters for sure today. All right, we're taking a left at the light. Ooh, wow, look at this. We got a truck in the center turn lane with its hazards on, so it doesn't need to go around it. But it got, yeah, I mean, that was an interesting scenario had it needed to deal with it, but that truck was in a good spot. Green light, constant roll, no problem there with an unprotected forward facing. Straight into the right lane, near the emergency room. This is a legal right on red. It was kind of hesitant at this one too. So we're going to do our full NHTSA stop. Then we're going to aggressively and smoothly creep. There's a little pause because he moved. You see that? That car moved is the reason for that pause because he had the right of way. And then we go. Yeah, see, this is the street parking I should probably try to join on this, somewhere here on St. John's Avenue. If I put curbside, but it wouldn't be a very tough one unless I just got lucky, because a lot of these, it'll just be able to pull over to the curb and park. Finding a parallel parking scenario would be good. I haven't talked about this flashing yellow because it's never been an issue, but take a look at it. It's still flashing and we're not hesitating or anything. Didn't show any red there though. Wonder if it's ever going to react to that light. All right, got some cones here today, identifying some sort of construction. I'm not exactly sure. They're just right on the yellow line. Maybe they're there so later in the day they can move them. I'm not sure. What they want me to do with those cones. Mad Max has not felt too bad today. I mean, I know I've had a lot of lead cars in traffic and I've been constrained, but I love the way it handled the traffic. I'm not exactly sure what it would be like on this city street with nobody in front of me. Maybe, okay, it sees that pedestrian with the dog. I didn't see them. It yielded. Very, very good with pedestrians. Wow. I mean, I probably would have just continued rolling through that. That car on the other side had stopped to yield. I didn't even see that black dog and that gentleman standing there. All right, here's our POI for Biscotti's. Is it going to park to the right? It sure is. She's the spot right here. Perfectly legitimate spot. No handicap today. And it's pulling straight in all the way up. You have arrived, and let's back up into traffic. Backing up, backing up. I heard the beeps. Very smooth and consistent. Slowed for traffic. Much better than a human can do with that rear view camera and that view. That camera's in a great location. Backing up is very good. It's so much better doing these drives to these POIs where you can park. I mean, FSD driving and testing, if you want to call it testing. I'm not a tester. I'm a early access member, I guess you could say, but setting up a route where you can actually park and stop is so much better than it used to be before version 14. It just feels more fluid. Like with the way I was able to move my POIs a little bit at 5 Points and Memorial Park, where I was able to put it right in that chain area that I knew it had to kind of try to dominate. It really makes creating routes much easier Um, I need to think through the parallel parking scenario a little bit more and how I might want to create that for you guys. I think somewhere there on St. John's Avenue, I need to create another POI to do a curbside or street parking. All right, done with the S-curve, did just fine. And a couple little traffic circles coming up. And I'm saying that only because it's an opportunity for some, indecisiveness that we saw before, some jerkiness. But at this point in the drive, an hour in, we're just not seeing that indecisiveness. Before it was like interacting with cars that might not turn. And there's I go, yeah, smooth. It did a little yield, pause, got the trajectories of those other cars and went on around. One more to go here. This is just an easy right into the circle, right exit. Smooth. Using all your parameters. Oh, wait a minute. Where's it going? Oh, you know what? I changed the route. I like this. I changed the route for that driveway at the end of the drive I was telling you about. And it's going across the drawbridge. Oh, that's great. That'll give us another scenario to test if the drawbridge comes up in the future. I like this. So this is going kind of the back way. I've driven this before for you guys. See this pedestrian over here? Look at her showing intent. That is the intent I'm talking about. She started moving. She did not have a crosswalk. But it is the intent and the vector that the car is calculating that says she is projecting her trajectory to cross yours. You need to yield. It did that perfectly again. Hey, Tesla AI, you've got pedestrians down in this version without any awkward jerkiness or hesitation. It's been spot on. I'm in Mad Max mode. I don't think that has anything to do with it. That's a speed and lane change frequency modification. It's not being aggressive or anything like that around pedestrians. It's not making, we saw Mad Max in my center turn lane scenario. It was not being overly aggressive in that. So Mad Max is really good for traffic. We saw that today, on I-95 and I-10's interchange there. It was very frequent lane changes. Lane changes are fixed. It's just putting the blinker on and going. It's not pushing itself into spots like I remember feeling on 13.2.9, but it's not hesitating and changing its mind and feeling like the gap isn't big enough. It's hitting them. It's going for it. The confidence at intersections where before the little right on red or those sort of scenarios where it was hesitant in its creep, didn't feel any of that jerkiness today. That got smoothed out in this release. Everything any of the early access members that have been talking about this version have felt, I didn't feel today on this, 1+ hour drive. I'm getting another camera visibility on my forward facing camera. Maybe it's some haze or something, but those camera alerts are definitely popping up. Can you wipe them away? Yeah, I guess you can. Now we're coming up on the drawbridge. The drawbridge comes up and down quite frequently in the summertime. Here in the wintertime or fall, it doesn't kind of come up and down as much. But as you see, we have crossbars on the drawbridge that had they come down, that could be a good test in the future to recognize how it does crossbars. Railroad track scenarios still need to be tested. I don't have any really good scenarios to do that without just waiting at an intersection for a train to come. Maybe one of you guys is going to do that. I'm not just going to go sit by a railroad track all day long and try to get 2 or 3 examples. That's just not my kind of testing. School zone here, but it's not flashing, if you notice that. So it's going 38 and a 35. This is the intersection before where it did slow down. We do have a 15 mile an hour kind of a warning sign there, kind of because this curve can catch you off guard if you're not from around here. But it hit it at 22, so it definitely didn't slow down to 15 like the caution sign said. That was fine. So here we are coming up on the end of the drive. Hopefully I've got this set up where to pull into the driveway of this this neighbor's garage I've got set up. They did a house tear down, so I'm not really encroaching on anybody's property. But yeah, I think this version is so much better than the previous two. The other ones were safe. They were just a little bit jerky. So I said early access members should probably get this. I think this version with what I drove today could go to everybody. It's as smooth as 13.2.9 on my N of 1 drives today. It did a good job. None of the issues that were in the previous versions I could feel or talk about today. The only failure we had was kind of an expected one with that thin chain test. So it definitely failed the thin chain test. And I've got park driveway. I want to do park at a driveway there is what I meant to have. And here we are. I pulled into a driveway all the way up. Let's see, and the garage door is closed. I'm going to pull up to the edge of the garage. You going to go into park? And we went into park. So there we are, start to finish. Over an hour of driving today. You probably felt a little bit less than that with the fast forwarding. But hey guys, this is an awesome version. Tesla AI, you iterated really, really quickly. Mad Max mode, hey, it did good in traffic. I kind of like the way it felt in traffic. It does not have any impact on my unprotected left-hand turns. But listen, it nailed both of them today. My unprotected left and the center turn lane left nailed both of them. Hopefully I've got some highlight clips for you guys out there watching the next. And for those of you watching the other locations, appreciate you coming by. Have a great day, everybody. Hopefully this goes wide.